Today, we're diving into a story of strength, struggle, and resilience, the untold story of British colonization in Africa and how it shaped the continent's history. Long ago, before colonization, Africa was a land of rich cultures, powerful kingdoms, and natural beauty. Each community had its own unique traditions, languages, and way of life. But in the 1800s, European countries noticed something else in Africa: resources. Gold, diamonds, fertile land. Africa held treasures that could make them richer and more powerful. Countries like Britain, France, and Belgium rushed to claim parts of Africa, beginning what is known as the Scramble for Africa. Each country raced to grab as much land as possible. In 1884, European leaders met in Berlin to decide who would control which parts of Africa. But they didn't invite any African leaders to the meeting. They made choices that would change Africa forever. Britain claimed vast areas, including Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, and South Africa. Each of these regions was rich with resources that Britain could use. South Africa was one of Britain's most valuable colonies. They discovered diamonds in the 1860s, which made them determined to control the land and its people. British miners set up operations, digging deep to find diamonds and gold. These resources made Britain wealthier, but South Africans saw little benefit. The Zulu people, led by King Shaka, fought back. They tried to protect their land, culture, and freedom from British control, but the British forces were too powerful. Next, Britain turned its attention to Nigeria, drawn by its valuable palm oil. Using military force, they gained control, setting up a new colony in 1914. In 1914, Britain joined together several regions to form Nigeria, combining many different groups under British rule. In Kenya, the fertile soil and mild climate attracted British settlers. They took the best land from local tribes, pushing communities like the Kikuyu off their ancestral lands. To make trade easier, the British built a railway from Kenya to Uganda. But in doing so, they took more land from local tribes, creating hardships for the people. Cecil Rhodes, a British businessman, led the colonization of Zimbabwe, renaming it Southern Rhodesia and turning it into a center for mining and farming. The Shona and Ndebele people resisted, bravely fighting to protect their land. But British forces overpowered them, and Zimbabwe fell under British control. Britain also claimed the Gold Coast, now known as Ghana, rich with gold and cocoa. They profited greatly, while Ghanaians worked hard but earned very little. Across the colonies, Africans were forced to work on British-owned farms and mines. They paid high taxes and often lived in poverty. To govern, Britain used indirect rule, putting local leaders in charge, but forcing them to follow British rules and policies. Britain took valuable resources like gold, diamonds, and crops back to Europe, leaving Africans with very little. When the British finally left, they left behind broken economies and limited infrastructure. African nations faced huge challenges in building their own economies. As British control grew, so did African resistance. People began to organize and demand independence. In Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta became a leader in the fight for independence. Kenyans rallied around him, inspired to reclaim their land and freedom. Kenyan fighters known as the Mau Mau launched a violent rebellion, taking up arms to resist British control and fight for their land. After years of struggle, Kenya gained independence in 1963, with Jomo Kenyatta as the nation's first leader. In Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah led the movement for freedom, and in 1957, Ghana became the first African country to gain independence from Britain. In South Africa, Nelson Mandela became a symbol of hope. His fight against apartheid helped bring freedom and equality to all South Africans in 1994. British colonization left African countries with limited industries and resources, making it hard to grow quickly and compete globally. Today, African countries celebrate Independence Days, honoring their freedom and remembering the brave men and women who fought for it. Leaders like Kenyatta, Nkrumah, and Mandela are remembered as heroes, each playing a vital role in Africa's journey to independence. Today, African nations work hard to overcome the effects of colonization, investing in schools, healthcare, and infrastructure. Now, Africa looks forward with hope, proud of its resilience and determined to create a bright future for generations to come. Thank you for watching this story about British colonization in Africa. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and join us next time as we uncover more stories of resilience, history, and hope.